change your meta just a little bit. And we will be off to the races shortly. So with the Black Mage, you're obviously going to be looking for Black Magic. Just quick question for you, Edge. Would you check the White Magic shop while you're here early and just find out for later with class change if Life is here?
Yeah, there's no harm in doing it while you'll never be closer than when you check the Black Magic shop, usually.
Alright, Black Magic has got Fast and Bane and Zap. So Zap's your discount spell. Bane, I believe, works a little bit better.
Yeah, Bane works a little better. It's a little more accurate, but Zap is resisted by fewer things. So out of all of them, I think I would still pick up Bane, just because by the time you run into things that resist poison, you probably don't want to be using Bane anyway.
Copper bracelets for sale in the armor shop. Not too much there, and I didn't see anything exciting in the weapons shop.
No, the Iron Nunchuck is nice to see at the very beginning, but not very crucial. One cast of Bane will probably take out a group of imps.
So one of the things that debuted with the Stage 1 of the League that we didn't see in the tournament is this little flag called Early Bridge. And Ice Blue has gone ahead and given us a look at it. But he didn't take advantage, he just went ahead and got the cutscene out of the way.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea if you have access to the bridge early, but don't have access to anything to save once you've crossed it. One of the worst things is getting across the bridge and then taking a nuke to the face and having to restart all over again.
Now this is actually exactly the kind of scenario where I would think about using that early bridge and come back with the ship. When I don't have that AoE damage spell, I like to check Provoca, see if maybe there's one there that I could pick up, but with Zap, I feel okay. Or Bane, either way.
The only problem with that is it's not a given that you're going to hit Garland with it. And since you only have 2 spell charges, unless you go and buy a full slate of weapons as well, you don't really have a contingency plan if the mage misses.
Hey, by the way, imps have let too.
Oh, good.
And Masamune and Zeus Gauntlets in Temple of Fiends, so you better check here.
That's, well, now, this is really interesting. Knowing that you have that up front, do you just Dan the black belt? You have the best weapon in the game.
Yeah, we were talking about that just before we came on air, is I expect a couple of our runners would just on principle Dan the black belt. You could also... Well, Broadster has named his thief Dan, so I guess we know what he thinks there, but with these flags, I think you could be better served with a ninja that has katana than a black belt, but you don't yet know that you're going to find the tail.
Well, I guess that all depends on what we see in the next few black magic shops as well.
Yeah, so far the Black Mage does have fast, so that is one of the best spells, and one of the best spells in these flags to get early. Runners didn't pick it up for lack of money, but it was there at level 1, and they will go back to get it at some point.
So yeah, with everything that they found, Garland is an absolute pushover, so my condolences to anybody that did early bridge.
Warp is for sale at level 2, and that is the highlight of the Black Magic, so they will have to do these pirates without an AoE damage. I take that back, they have Zeus Gauntlet. They'll use Light 2 on them.
Well, not Broadster. He took the early bridge, it looks like.
Well, if these pirates rolled something nasty, he's going to be questioning his life later, unless Bane just takes care of everything. Which it very well might.
Yeah, very good chance that does. Pirates known for not having strong magical defense.
You could have just stopped at not having strong and just stopped.
Well, I mean, they were pretty strong when Tristol and I ran into them in that second match.
Fair enough.
Oh, cheap tents for sale too, and that's gotta feel good to find.
That always warms your heart. So we'll talk about the significance of that when we get there, but it'll be used by runners for potential encounter manipulation on the overworld in particular. It's one of the nice things about this game is for most speedruns, you won't do a lot of saving because of time consuming, and for Final Fantasy 1, saving actually speeds you up overall. That looked like a pretty expensive silver sword, but you have Masamune, so who cares?
Yeah, that won't be seeing very much use, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's Brodster, so he doesn't have Masamune yet.
He'll get it eventually, unless he's gonna do some Peninsula Power trickery.
Possibly, I guess he's got the tents, but
Oh no,
at
this
his
would
levels,
be so much better. He is gonna do it, but this would go so much better if he had Masamune.
yeah, I mean, you've got Bane and Zap to get you through this, but I would like more spell charges if I was going to do this, because you just can't get through that many fights.
In the meantime, we have Ice and Papa Foys on the pirates, almost synced up, and we have a Ruby in Matoya's cave.
About 4% of the time, it can happen. Also, a rune sword, which I believe is equipable by the thief.
Yeah, so hey, useful thief. All right.
So if you're going to use all 4 party members, the seed has given it to you so far. And it looks like Brodster is still trying to find the right fight to use that zap on, but this is one where the zombie bulls keep on coming. Where are these when you've got 4 white mages and need something to cast Harm 4 on? Which, by the way, if you're not familiar, we've got Stage 2 starting up soon, so they will be running 4 white mage parties, but it will only be a battle to defeat Lich. And this is just not working out well for Brodster so far.
No, pretty heavy gamble that is just not paying off. Ice is going to have a much easier time of this, just with the fact that he has Zeus Gauntlet.
Yeah, it's quite a difference when you can do guaranteed damage.
Now, here's a pack of Frost Wolves, and this should be easier, but it's got to get that cast off first, and down
You
goes
have
the
to
fighter.
live. Have to live or it doesn't do much good.
Alright, this is a pretty good formation. But only gets the Bane off on 1.
And looks like Brodster's had enough. I mean, I think he checked every enemy there, so if nothing proved particularly farmable, then it makes sense to go ahead and move on.
Yeah, just not doable.
Papa Foys is going to get the ruby out of Matoya's cave, so he's our second runner to see that.
And Ice gets jumped by a pack of wolves, so he's just going to reset rather than sit through that.
So we have one last shot for early TNT, and that is if it's the Lazy Dwarfs. Either TNT is there, or we're going to have Marsh Cave required. Boy, there's always something to look at when you've got 4 runners. But Pirate's down for Brilliant, who's going to get the ship now. And I guess Ice Blue is looking for some encounters at sea.
Yeah, some Kaizoku fights would be good, especially with how tight money is on this seed.
Maybe he was just a little bit short of a purchase? He is back in the Black Magic Shop. He's going to get Warp. I wouldn't want to leave here without it. It sets you up well for some other plays, including a potential early Ice Cave. Apparently, we have lost a runner, so I'm guessing there was something nasty early that we didn't get a glimpse of yet.
Might have been just bad luck with the imps, too.
That's true. We did see they had lit too, so if you got the bad end of that RNG. So a quick couple of thank yous to get out of the way. First of all, to Speed Gaming, who's been a great partner to Final Fantasy Randomizer and hosting us this afternoon. Thank you all of you who have tuned in, as Ice Blue's going to go ahead and get the ribbon. Thank you everyone watching in, whether you've been following us so far, just saw it today, or heard about it during GDQ because we got a shout out last night, and thank you very much for that.
And it looks like Brilliant's going to be the first of the group to check out the Lazy Dwarves.
Alright, what do we have? We have TNT. This is what happens when I roll a seed. They get Moss Immune, they get TNT, they get Ruby. How nice can I be?
And it was the laziest dwarves. It wasn't even in the back chest. It was in the front one.
Well, you know, that was somebody else's room. He didn't want to go there.
Oh, Grey Wolves have thunder, so.
Oh, that's extra fun.
Oh, and it looks like he did not save after leaving the dwarf cave, so Brilliant's going to have to redo that.
Thunder is a really unpleasant skill early on in particular.
It's like Broadster immediately equips the Masmian onto the black belt.
Well, the black belt will do more damage with it than he will barehanded for quite some time. In particular, if you're not going to grind him, he'll do more damage with Moss Immune for the entire seed if you're not going to grind him. That sounds wrong. If you don't grind levels up with him, then you will do better with Moss Immune. Hey, we're about to get a look at Elfland finally. Question in chat, is the item tracker updated automatically or manually? It is in fact updated manually. Terralyn is doing that for us today. We've got Saber and Lit 2 at level 3.
So, Lit 2, nice to have. 2 sources of Lit. We have Nuke at level 5 in Melman.
So not the best level for that to be at.
Bottle in Elfland. Ice 2 at level 4. So the items have been pretty good. The spell selection, not so much.
Question in chat. Well, so far we have found the Moss Immune and we have found the Ruby and TNT. We have not found a ribbon as of yet. Maybe I did say ribbon early, I don't know. But they had early Ruby. Although seeing what we've seen so far, I think I'd be wanting to look at Volcano instead of Earth Cave right now. But if you really felt like gambling, you could go check Titans. And a good point in chat that Masamune is... It's always nice to have it, but it's especially nice in a seed that doesn't necessarily have the available magic as Rotster gets the TNT. Masamune will start to fix a lot of problems.
Yeah, so right now it seems like the runners are set up for less for fights against large groups and more against single target damage, and I think out of all of the locations, the Volcano is probably the best for that.
Now here's the other interesting thing if you want to look into the layers of this. We have incentivized chest for the Ice Cave, the one guarded by the Eye, and we also have the one in Castle Ordeals. We know that 2 of the items are already off the table because we found the Ruby and we found the Masamune. So the worst you could do at this point is arguably either the Adamant or a Ribbon.
I think no one is unhappy finding a Ribbon, so the Adamant is worst prize. But yeah, finding the Ruby early does make the incentive chests more attractive.
But even if you do find Adamant, then that gives you, potentially at least, Excalibur on a Knight and Masamune for either the Thief or Black Belt. So even that seriously upgrades your melee damage. So I think these incentive chests become even a higher percentage play than usual when you've already found the Ruby.
Yeah, and a good point made in chat. One of those 2 chests has to be good at this point.
I mean, you could have Ruby, you could have Tail, Ribbon, and Adamant between the 2 of them and not get a progression item. The Peds have Poison Touch, so they're not the nicest today. So you could potentially not get a progression item out of there, but you could still get very useful items out of there.
And, well, the Black Belt just gets crit for Papa, so time for a reset. Looks like he picked up Quake at level 2, which may be a little bit more accurate. Resisted by more enemies, though.
You and I have talked about this before. It's always nice to have a couple softs in the bank before you go onto the seed, because it is really annoying to be in the middle of nowhere, get stone touched, and not have any access to a soft.
It's also helpful to be able to take advantage of that if one of your party members gets petrified on the way down to a grind spot, say in Volcano or Ice. Being able to thaw them out after the grind just makes the process of leaving that much safer.
Indeed. So Ice Blue and Papa Foy's are looking at the area surrounding Crescent Lake. So is Brilliant. Rotster is still trying to get over there.
And looked like Bulls had Fire 3, so they are unpleasant to deal with as well.
Ooh, hope none of our off-screen runners went for early Earth Cave.
Question in chat, what is the goal this time? The goal is to defeat Chaos, but with a fully forced party and low experience boost.
Well, they are getting double experience, but there's no flat rate on the fights. So whereas if you fought a party of imps with full bonus experience, you're going to jump to level 3, you will not in this case. You just get the 2 times experience.
Yeah, so none of our runners on stream have checked any of the white magic shops, so we don't know where the life spells are or if they would be accessible on class change.
We've seen a couple. One of the runners checked Melmond for some reason and saw that Cure 4 was there, so that is off the table for this seed. But by and large, no, we've not seen those shops. Alright, so it looks like everybody doesn't quite want to leave the safety of the Crescent Lake area with that inn and clinic available to them.
Yeah,
Which
Ice is looking for Hydras, which is I don't think is a great option. Peds are certainly better, and then it's arguable whether Giants are better or worse.
this is, if there is a downside to early D&D and not going to Marsh Cave, it's a slim advantage, but the downside of it is your levels are going to be anywhere from 3 to 9 levels lower getting here than they would have been after a Marsh Cave. So before you even think about going to Volcano, you need a few extra levels. And you also want the additional spell charges.
Yeah, and with no access to fire magic or harm magic, doesn't feel great going into ordeals right now. You do have warp, so you can get through it very quickly, but it's just a matter of how do you get through large packs of zombies and Medusas.
The nice thing about these peds having poison, though, is if you did want to Dan one of your members, it is a whole lot easier when they are poisoned. And when we say Dan, we mean somebody basically being killed off and just running a 3-man team the rest of the way like Broadster looks to be doing. Just so we're not using too much insider slang. Looks like Ice Blue got through those peds and it was good enough for 2 levels to get to 8.
Yeah, Papa Foy's also on 8, and it looks like those Giants did not roll too high HP.
Would you like to take a moment and explain why Broadster is leaving Dan in the second spot?
So the targeting is based on the enemy targeting is based on the position people are in. So for the case of Broadster's party, the fighter has a 50% chance of getting hit. The thief has a 25% chance. And then the 2 mages in the back split up the remaining 25% evenly. Dead party members, if they're targeted, they're re-rolled until a live party member is selected. So, for probability's sake, it makes more sense to put the thief into the second slot if you don't want or the dead party member into the second slot if you don't want your mages getting hit more with a 3-person group.
Always warms my commentator heart when we get to see route divergence, and Broadster has gone to ordeals. So if you played the game, you're used to the idea that you always take the lower pillar. Well, that's not going to work because these are randomized. Now that just means their destinations are shuffled, so there will be a path through, and every pillar will always take you to the same spot it takes you to, but you don't know what the pattern is yet. Personally, I've taken to just labeling the pillars, not pillows. I'm like you, I'm thinking asleep. I label the pillars in my head A, B, and just repeat the mantra to myself. Okay, it was pillar A, pillar B, A, and just count it that way is how I've started keeping it straight.
Yeah, I usually think of it in terms of up, down, and then 1 through 4 for the large room. But this is Bratster takes a wipe, and this is what I was worried about. Going into ordeals when you don't have a way to effectively take out a large zombie group. Looks like they rolled pretty high.
I've had a little bit of trouble keeping up with the encounter rate because of everything going on. Have you seen if we had a pretty good gap in there anywhere?
It looked like Bratster had a couple of good runs initially, quite a few steps before those Medusa encounters, but after that, it has not been great.
The nice thing about Ordeal is it's really not that long if you know the pattern that you're going. So even if you figure out half the path and reset, you're going to get through that first half very quickly.
So it looks like the good news is that the fires lead off by casting Ruse. The bad news is you want to hit them. Oh, and then they have Brack to follow up. So fires seem to be a non-starter this seed.
That's a grind spot, but you got a chest there that you really need to check, because it really stinks leaving one behind. Brilliant has now joined the ordeal. Is Ice Blue gonna go live up to his namesake? I hope so.
All right, 3
Thank you,
different
Ice.
locations, and the only way this could have got better is if one of our runners went to Earth and took the ruby bait, but nobody's doing it so far. And probably for good reason, seeing the enemy groups that we know are in there.
Or if you're really, really a gambler, having warp, you could go to Marsh Cave and get out of there a lot faster. If you really wanted to gamble.
This is a pretty ambitious grind on the part of Bratster, I think. He's found out that the Mud Gulls have very low HP, though, so if he can survive...
He has no life spells, so whatever damage he takes, that's it.
Yeah, he's going to run through his potions very quickly doing that, but this might be exactly what he needs. And we have this slab in the treasury of the volcano.
Good place for Papa Foys to find the slab, and he's going to be the first of our featured runners to find it. Little does he know, that's probably about the best place it could be for him.
So now
everybody else is taking a gamble.
Yeah, so now we know the slab is out of the way. That improves the chances of the incentive chest being the floater.
Floater and crown would be options, along with tail and adamant and ribbon. If I'm thinking of everything, I think I am.
So Bratster is down to just the black belt right now, and this is a little dicey for him. If he runs into a 3 group of Mud Gulls, he could be in serious trouble.
Question in chat, well, I'll rephrase the question. Can you soft lock in the pillar maze? And you can. I don't know the exact number, but you usually won't, because if you're getting up there in encounters, you're just going to reset, as Bratster is going to have to reset, taking a wipe. That seemed pretty ambitious, so maybe he'll try again, maybe he won't, I'm not sure.
I think it would have been doable if he could have kept more of his party members alive. The problem was just that 3 group. He did not have enough defense and HP to survive a 3 group.
Yeah, and he really doesn't have much in the way of defensive equipment right now. He doesn't have even silver bracelet level protection, so lagging a bit for that.
Yeah, Edge making a good point in chat. A two Mud Gull group that ambushed him also would have been curtains for him.
That is an interesting play for Ice Blue. Usually, he just lost his Masamune attack that first round because of sleep from the eye. Usually, people using Warp Spell in here are doing it at the back chest. This eye is not cooperating with him at all. And they get to check all 3 chests off that one warp spell and avoid the eye fight. There's also a mage fight you're able to avoid. But he might also be thinking about grinding this eye, in which case, maybe switch Ace and Bill. Crown is in the ice cave. Ice Blue has found it. So our go mode items are accounted for except the floater.
And I don't mind this play from Ice at all. If he's planning on doing an eye grind, this is a pretty good warm up to that. Because Ice Cave can be very scary, and if you don't have at least, I don't know, I would say level 14, 15 party, just any of the strong elemental spells like Blizzard or Blaze can just rip through everybody.
Oh, there we go. Now he's going to protect that Mospian. So we know at this point the runners, well, we always know they're going to have to go to Volcano because you have to be carry and get the Fire Orb, but we know that Slab is there, so they will not be able to go mode before doing Volcano. We do not yet know if Ordeal is going to be required. So sure looks like it's going to be useful, though.
Yeah, and it looks like Broadster is committing to this Mud Goal grind. And as long as he can keep the fighter upright, I think this will go a lot smoother than his first attempt.
Boy, 71 damage a hit is quite a bit. Brilliant, meanwhile, has made it to the last floor of Ordeal.
So we'll get a look at what those treasures have.
Just gold in the first one. Now, I will say, what I understand about doing a grind on Mud Golems is one of the key elements of any grind is you need something that's going to die quickly. So Medusas have thunder, and that's very unpleasant.
Oh, goodness, this is not the place to be. Brilliant. Being very fortunate that they didn't see that.
Now, Broadster had taken extra steps with that grind, so it could be possible you're able to skip them. Or they could just be the second encounter, in which case you're just hoping for the right RNG.
Yeah, it seems like they have that first in the slot, and Brilliant finding Adamant, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to say that that's the worst of the options that was available, which is not to say it's unuseful, but just the least of the ones. So I will say, however, that should make your next play pretty automatic, in my opinion, which is go to Ice Cave from Ordeal.
And this is really interesting with the fact that Crown and Ruby are on the table. Both Earth and the Crown chest can contain the floater.
We have, as potential options for the floater, could be any of the Crown-locked chests, the Marsh Cave, the Earth Cave, and Titan's Cave.
Oh, and Brilliant also finding out that zombie dragons are very doable.
They are worth quite a bit of experience, especially with 2 of them, but it looks like maybe they're a little bit much for the thief, but Masamine's going to make pretty good work of them.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with sort of danning the 2 party members. Right now, both the Black Belt and the Fighter are exactly who you want to get experience. What I don't like is immediately running back into this fight without healing.
They are hitting pretty good, so it is definitely a risky play at the lower levels. Now you get 5 to 10 levels and this becomes a lot less risky. But also it's worth noting, as opposed to other grind spots, when you're doing either the Eye or the zombie dragons, there is a risk of other encounters. Because you have to step onto a non-safe tile before going back onto the trap tile.
And there's one of those encounters right now. Broadster running into a pack of sorcerers. Unfortunately, they are not as nasty as their vanilla cousins.
Which is hard to do. Running into 6 packs of things that can just kill you because they want to, that's never fun. That's how I first learned about encounter manipulation in this game.
Anything to get through the ice gate. And looks like no sneak peek on the Agama for Papafoys, so there's the flame armor, though, which will come in handy.
Yeah, that's our best defensive pickup so far. Well, pro ring, but most absorb pickup you're going to get so far.
And speaking of those encounters, Brilliant running into a pack of mummies.
So are several spots in the game that are conducive to grinding because they have that trap tile with a high experience enemy. The reason you'll see people do the Agamas so much is because you can go back and forth between the two and never face an encounter. There's a couple others like that. You're fond of checking the Grey Worm and the fire encounters in Volcano that you can do that with. You move to a safe tile and then back to the trap tile, so you're never getting random encounters.
Yeah, although the Grey Worm and the fires are far less attractive than a seed with a low experience multiplier. And Brat makes it to the top floor and gets thundered again. Just having the worst luck with this Medusa group.
Now, interesting, he knows that it's adamant now. Or did he not get all the way to that chest?
He didn't make it all the way there.
Oh my, that's very unfortunate, because he might have just opted out of here had he known that.
And it looks like, did Brilliant take a wipe as well? I don't see why you would go back in, unless you wanted to save the experience and just take another run at the zombie dragons. No,
He must have taken a wipe because everybody's back alive.
And at this point, I didn't see anything in here that I really wanted to get back other than the experience.
I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind adamant, but it's nothing that Katana basically wouldn't cure as well.
Yeah, chat mentioning that Brilliant got 2 thundered, so looks like Ice's eye grind may be the clear winner here. Although we'll have to see if the Agamas are any better. Nope, they know Thunder too.
Yeah, so they're not going to be farmed this seed. Also, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with 2 more of them to check the Red Dragon chest.
This is not good. Especially when you are down to 30-something heal potions. And I think at this point, this may just be a chest check before a reset.
I believe I agree with you, because I just don't think those levels are good enough for carry. I mean, yes, you have Masamune, which can do a lot. Flame Shield is not a bad pickup at all, but
no, and this
against carry's potential melee damage, this feels a little low for me.
Well, he can one-shot red dragons at this point. So if the initiative is sort of friendly to him, he might be able to level up enough to take a carry fight.
70 damage on just one hit, though.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great, but it all depends on how much he feels like gambling. If he had a wizard staff, this would definitely feel a lot more comfortable.
Now, on the other hand, just being able to get more levels makes it quite a bit more safer because you are getting magic defense. We talk about that more often with the black belt than anyone else, but every class is getting some magic defense with level ups. And the more of that you get, the safer everything else becomes.
Yeah, it looks like this red dragon has pretty high evade.
It looks like Bratster has finished with the ordeal at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be the very aptly named ordeals. And be curious to see if Brilliant goes for another grind.
And
Doesn't
didn't even
even.
check the chest that time, so he doesn't have the adamant yet. He had it and lost it, so that's the difference there. But either he picks up this on the way out, and I gotta figure he's just walking out now if he did it this way. Of course, I could be wrong because people love to prove me wrong.
I don't remember the formation of the items in the menu, but it might have been advantageous to pick up adamant later. And it looks like ice is done with Ice Cave. So with his higher level party, he should be able to pick up the extra levels somewhere down the line. And well, we have Carrie hitting 6 times for 300 damage. So this oh, and Carrie has Thunder as well. So this is the theme of the seed.
It does seem to be. Oh, you think you're one good hit from carry away from being ripped, so hopefully this one does it. It does!
Wow,
Papa Foy's just gets by there.
3 spells. And please heal up because these aren't safe tiles.
Question in chat, where was the crown? We found that in the eye-guarded chest of the Ice Cave. That's why Ice Blue is the only runner to find it so far. He was the first to go there. Now, hopefully you have a good stock of tents to get you back to Crescent Lake with just the one party member.
It looks like
18, that'll be plenty.
Yep, that's enough.
When I said needing enough, it's like 5. Ooh, Hydra's was slow. Isn't that extra fun?
And
In case you
rough.
had thoughts of one-shotting him with Masamune.
So Brilliant again committing to the Zombie D grind, and it's just, you know, 1 5-pack of Medusas away from disaster.
Question in chat, what about the other items? Well, we found Adamant in Castle Ordeals. That was the incentive chest here. The Masamune was in Temple of Fiends in one of the first 3 chests of the game. We found Slab in Volcano, which is why Papa Foy's is the only of our featured runners to have that. He's the only one who went to Volcano first. That's interesting if the great gamble play was to actually not make a gamble play. I say that because often we'll go to Volcano first because there's at least 3 potential grind for experience locations, the Agamas typically being the safest in the game because of no random encounters. So that is why it is frequently the first play of a runner, and anything else is often considered a gamble play trying to get an advantage.
The other nice thing about Volcano first is sometimes you don't want to go all the way to 32 fighting Grey Worms and fires. That sometimes you just want to take the black belt to 21 and then move on to the Agamas that may have had just, you know, too much health that fighting them at 20 would have been a 3-round, but fighting them at 21 makes it a 2-round. That makes it much more efficient.
And the other thing that separates Volcano from, say, Ice and Ordeal is even though those treasures are incentivized, that does not make them required dungeons. That means they have a better chance, but like we found Adamant here, which is not required, whereas we found Crown in Ice, which is required, but that could have been the tail instead, which is not. So, just because you have incentivized does not mean those are required locations.
It is entirely possible that you stick Floater and Volcano and Ruby and Adamant in the incentive chests, and you can just skip those altogether.
Yeah, I mean, conversely, if Papa Foy's had found Floater in Volcano, he'd have had a huge advantage right now.
And none of the runners decided to do early Earth, and that actually has a better chance of holding the Floater now as opposed to the Crown Chest.
It's one of the things we really saw play out in this stage is we've seen a couple of runners take the, I wouldn't call it a gamble, but the exploration trip to the first floor of Earth Cave, because you can reset so easily if you don't find anything in those chests and walk to the other set, that it's a pretty quick trek usually, as long as the encounter table is nice. Vorpal, by the way, for Ice Blue. So that's another interesting thing out of Volcano.
Oh, that's it. Endgame weapon. We're set.
I went to look at some of the other runners and I found myself watching a link to the past race, and I'm like, okay, apparently I clicked the wrong thing.
We've got chat calling for a Ruby locked floater, and looks like Grogers have Blizzards, so all of the strong elemental spells that I was discussing before are out in force, and that's why it feels better going into these areas at, say, level 15. That gives you just enough HP to eat one of those and hopefully get away. So Ice's party, as opposed to anyone else's, is best suited for that right now because of the levels from the eye grind.
So we're looking at 3 possible locations. Now, that's not true. I should not count before I start listing places. We have 4 scenarios, I would call it, for the floater at this point. It could be in one of the Crown Lock chests, it could be in the Marsh Cave, it could be in the Earth Cave, or it could be in Titan's Tunnel.
So another question in chat: where does the verb "dan" come from? And the follow-up answers are correct. It's from Geyer's world record runs. He likes to name his characters Ace, Bill, Cal, and Dan. And Dan, unfortunately, is the party member that ends up face down on the carpet most of the time. Slab for Ice Blue, so he is just a floater away from go mode, and that always feels good.
Yeah, now the good news for Papa Foy's is he went to Ice Cave next, which is the closest, kind of following the logic, and that's going to give him the crown, so he will be in the same position shortly. Looks like Artea and Sho both found their way to the Ice Caves, so they should have crown in the background. I'm not sure what else they have.
Oh, good correction in chat. I didn't know that Feasel also named his party members the same thing, so thanks for that catch.
We still got to find a way to drag Feasel into doing commentary on one of these.
It's just, it'll have to be one of the days when he's not restreaming 5 matches at once.
So never, you're saying?
Unfortunately.
We appreciate you, Feasel. Chat, how about a round of thank you, Feasels? And let's thank Mythical 9 as well, who's actually our mini Feasel for today. He's making this happen.
The mythical Feasel. Yeah, it looks like.
Looks like,
Oh, I was
well,
just gonna say Papa Foy's overshot the treasure chest, and Broadster is committing to the eye grind at this point.
I
And
thought he was going to use warp there. Did he not get warp? Because that was... I think he went in the right place for it. You have to go in that one specific drop to be able to use the warp
I
strategy to
wonder
get
if he's
those
going
3
to warp
treasures.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's skipping the Frost Dragon fights for another group of uh, the large ghost fights and taking fewer steps. That's interesting, but I don't think it's worth going through this fight again.
And that Frost Dragon fight is pretty easy typically because it's not one of the stronger monsters. It's just also not usually good experience. But I did have one seed I was playing where they were the easiest thing I could fight, so I got level 21 on them and moved on. Because that is one of those safe locations. You won't get another encounter walking back and forth in that room.
Looks like Brilliant is done. Cashes out at the 50-minute mark.
What did he get for levels out of that? Went too fast for me. I would imagine his target was 21 with the black belt.
Yeah, and judging from the HP on the black belt, I think that's pretty close to what they got.
So worth mentioning, at 21 he gets 2 more hits, so the damage output, that's where he really starts to become a factor for that black belt, so it's a good target level. And he's brought everybody back. No Dan's in his party.
And I think, did Ice just drop a pro ring?
Hope not.
Well, at least they're for sale later. And speaking of for sale, gold bracelets for everybody on Brilliant side. And is that enough to buy the bottle? That it is. So, full stack of heal potions and the bottle for Brilliant.
I'm 50-50 on buying the bottle now. I don't like doing it before floater. Because I would hate to be short on heal potions or pure potions, something like that, and have the bottle in the inventory, which isn't helping me yet.
I think if you have enough money, it's not a bad pickup. I only say that because I always forget it, so buying it early is good for me.
Fair point. Hey, Ice Blue is about to see the friendly neighborhood Agamas. Agama fact, Agamas will thunder you in the face.
Yikes.
Now he's probably wishing he had taken the free path to that treasure chest instead. Meanwhile, Bropster and Papa Foys are both seeing that the eye is fairly friendly, so Foys is definitely working on that a little bit.
So I wonder if Ice will take the same approach that Foy's did. Nope, just gonna keep on going. Time to check the yeah. So this is turning out exactly like Foy's. Except red giants have fast. You don't want that. Not at all.
That would make for a very bad day.
It's bad enough when they hit you once.
And depending on what they hit you for. As your enemies change when you move through a dungeon, you might run into a skill you hadn't seen yet that can really ruin your day. Wonder if we'll see him try and do anything with this red dragon. I don't think he got hit there, so he might not realize the pain it involves yet.
Well, it's
He's
pretty
got
safe.
4 pro rings, so he didn't lose one.
Oh, okay, so it's a pretty safe assumption that these guys are going to hit pretty hard. It's just a matter of whether you're willing to take the punishment or not. And with 60 heal potions, Ice can definitely take some lumps before going into the carry fight. Although a max roll on Thunder is definitely not what you want to see.
And it kind of makes me wonder if I would really want to try and solo carry at this point. But he's got higher levels, so...
So it looks like he's going to give it a shot, and if he takes a physical attack, this is going to be... Oh, he might not even survive this formation.
Looks like Boys has left the ice cave.
Took 3 fire 3s and lived. So all of those levels on the eye making this possible. But we'll see. Carrie has a very, very... Ooh. Paralysis touch, too.
That we didn't see last time. What is the rate on this? 1 in 4 chance of recovery?
Yep.
And it might not have been soon enough.
So all of the absorb from the fighter equipment he found serving him very well, and paralyzed again. So.
And that next hit is probably going to be it. Next melee hit. Oh, she has poison
she
too.
Has poison as well. This is. Well, this is really close. No. Paralyzed.
All right, go back
again,
and get the slab if you didn't save it. Did he save it?
I don't know if he did or not, but he has to come back with the floater anyway, and it looks like he did save it.
Okay.
And hey, as it turns out, Papa Voice finds out the kindly old king was Astos all along.
This is not a bad check with the canoe. It makes it a lot easier to navigate some of these places. And if it is crown locked, you could potentially get an advantage over somebody who decides to check Martian Earth first. Although that said, I wouldn't go into Marsh without completing the crown quest first, because why double dip there?
Yeah, and we know just from some of the encounters that we've seen, Earth has some kind of nasty stuff in there.
So we have 2 of our runners 1 item away from go mode. Both Papa Poise and Ice Blue are looking for the floater.
Brilliant picks up the crown.
You know, it's interesting. We've seen a bunch of nasty skills out there, so even though our runners have handled it pretty well, with a couple of wipes along the way, but overall handled it pretty well, you could be looking at a nightmare seed if your luck has been a little bit worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rough from the beginning. You have Lightning Grey Wolves, Imps that know Lightning too, and the strong elemental spells have been out in force so far. So just the wrong pattern in the encounter tables, and you could easily convince yourself that this is not completable.
And let's not forget, not the best selection of black magic either. I mean, having the Bane Sword now, you really could Dan that Black Mage, especially after like level 12, where he's going to have plenty of fast charges.
And now Ice is going to take a crack at Ordeals. And if Floater turns out to be key locked, this is going to be a huge advantage for Papa Foys. So take a look and see how this turns out. First 4 treasure chests.
Keylocked or Marsh Cave even, because I think this will take him to Marsh earlier. He gets the tail, which is going to have value in this seed, I think.
Question from chat: is this a league race? Yep. Still, this is the last round 1 league race. So, people playing defense and people trying to get rid of those chaos points. This is the last opportunity for round 1. Got exit in the white magic shop, and I didn't catch the other spells.
Well, especially now that you have found the tail for Papa Poise, it becomes so important what's in those shops, because I think at this point the one we've not seen is Provoca. If that just happens to be Life 2, or even Invis 2 for that matter, would be helpful.
There are a lot of things that could be in that shop that are definitely helpful. Heal 3 would also be very nice. But Life or Life 2 are definitely the big ones that you're looking for. What's also nice is that for the ninja, you also have another fast caster. So for those parties that decided to keep both the black belt and the fighter alive, you can fast both of those physical attackers.
So Poise is working on checking these chests, and with Canoe, it's really not bad to check Astos' castle either. But it looks like he's going to go Corneria first.
Yeah, this is usually the route that I will take if I'm checking crown chests, and then you take a look at Astos Castle on the way out if you have Canoe.
Brodster, meanwhile, is working on the fetch quest himself to get the key. Pro Cape, you can protect your Black Mage with the cape the professionals use, or you can fly around the world in your new shiny airship, because Papa Foy's just found the floater. So Papa Foy's is our first runner into go mode.
And the Ruby was bait again.
Things have gone pretty well for Foy's so far. There's still some things he would like to get, so I'm surprised he didn't go to Dwarf Cave.
He may be heading straight for the airship with the thoughts of routing Dwarf Cave in with the Cardia Islands and Titan's Tunnel checks.
Very fair point. So with the go mode items, I would say the most important thing we're still looking for is ribbons. Beyond that, you still have stuff like Dragon Armor, Aegis Shield, Opal Bracelet that are extremely useful you'd like to find, and the Power Gauntlet would also be on that list.
Yeah, and right now, a big advantage for Foy's is that he doesn't have to check ordeals, having all of the progression items he needs.
You mean he could say after the fact that I didn't know Medusas had thunder?
Always good to rub that in, and Ice finds out that Medusas have thunder, and down goes the Black Mage. So, fortunately, he's made it through the bulk of the dungeon, so not having warp isn't going to hurt too much.
Now he came in here with the highest levels, so he also had the highest magic defense, and he had pro rings on everybody, so he was the best equipped to survive that.
And immediately resets upon seeing the adamant.
That is it's a call. I don't think I would have let the zombie dragon fight stop me from leaving with the adamant personally. I get it, every time save is a time save, but Excalibur and Masamune is not a bad combination of things to have.
Also, not checking the viability of the dragon grind, uh, because with Ice's party configuration, that definitely would have worked out in his favor.
He did do the eyes, so I guess he's gotten whatever he feels comfortable with at this point, and the rest he's just planning to pick up along the way. Titan's Cave has the Aegis Shield, so that was one of those items I was saying was still out there. And, oh yeah, don't forget to translate the slab. One of those details.
Easiest language in the world.
Just add bacon.
And a nuke pickup for Foy's as well. So at level 5, he'll have a couple of charges of that, and that's going to make Sea Shrine a lot easier.
Brodster adds the key and by extension the tail to his collection of items.
Yep, and now we're going to have the first class change, it looks like. So Papa Foy's is going to leave some Black Belt magic resist on the table in order to promote early to get spell charges.
And Brilliant has picked up the slab out of Volcano. So one of the interesting things we saw as this stage went on is kind of an evolution in the approach that our runners are taking. And after some of our runners put up really impressive times just going straight for Temple of Fiends without the grinding, and people saw how possible it was, it has changed where there's been a lot less time taken to level up and a lot more going through the seed and taking fights.
Yeah, it's
Boys?
certainly changed to be a more aggressive meta. While it's definitely not as safe as, say, a 32 black belt grind, getting through Temple of Fiends is doable, but uh, bad luck can always derail a run, and it's more likely you'll run into bad luck at lower levels.
Question in chat, where was the floater? It was in Corneria. It was in their locked treasury. Not quite in D&D's chest, but...
Yeah, and so Brodster, as soon as he found the floater, decided to book it for the airship as well. First class change goes to Pop Foy's, and he'll be happy equipping all of that sweet new gear that he can use now.
Opal helmet, Aegis shield. Some good stuff there.
Electing to drop some of the Opal equipment, I might hang on to that just to sell it later, just because with the low gold boost, you're not automatically raking it in like you normally would in with standard boost settings. And these 27 gold chests certainly aren't helping.
A bunch of peds for Brilliant. I wonder if this is his first time seeing them. Well, these higher levels than we saw earlier, but we know these were not the friendliest peds we've ever run into. Oh, and there's a katana.
Yeah, so very, very, very good equipment for the ninja. Katana having the highest crit rate in the game with weapon fixes on.
The highest or second to Masa?
I think it has. It's tied with Vorpal for having the highest crit rate, but it has more physical damage. So Katana is definitely the way to go with the weapon fixes on.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Now, he won't get adamant, but boy, that could be a great lineup of swords if you had a sub 32 black belt with Masamune. You could have a fighter with Excalibur and a ninja with katana. You'd be doing pretty good.
Yeah, all you need is a red wizard with Vorpal, and you'd have the legendary sword collection assembled.
Let's see. Did Papa Foy's get the bottle while we weren't looking, or is he looking for it?
I wonder if he forgot where it was. Or he definitely had to have picked it up.
Yes, he did, and he's about to get the Oxyel as a result. I was just curious because of him checking the item shop, but not usually you would come this path without already having the bottle.
Yeah, either you're checking to see if you had lazy pirates, or you just needed a bunch of houses. Looks like Ice is gonna sail over to Dwarf Cave, so this is gonna be a quick check here. But no. And we have Papa Foy's heading over to Onrak right now. And Bratster gonna check out Titan's Tunnel.
And by the way, chat, for those of you who may be watching some of our non-featured runners, if you see anything interesting, please feel free to share. Unfortunately, we can't keep an eye on everything all at once, so if anything major happens, we'd love to hear about it. And it looks like Brilliant is going to work through the rest of Volcano now. Brodster's found an Aegis Shield available, and he already class changed, so he's able to equip that right away.
So nothing too exciting, it seemed, in the Dwarf Cave. Still on the lookout for the first ribbon.
Begs a very interesting question. Are you comfortable going to Temple of Fiends with no ribbons?
In this situation, absolutely not. Because not only do you have no ribbons, you have no access to wall either.
And no life too, either. So, will somebody be checking Marsh Cave? Will somebody be checking Mermaids? Will somebody check one of the other locations we haven't seen yet? Will you go out of your way to try and find one, and how much out of your way are you to go?
Question in chat. Randomizer site has a fun % option for teams that seems to move the sprite map around. What is the result of changing it? If you are on Team Tyro, there is no change to the sprite map. If you are on Team Steak, well, the Tyro is replaced with a giant slab of meat. As for the other fun % options, there is the names are changed, and there is a palette swap as well.
Let's see. Ice Blue was able to get his airship, and he's going to pick up the rod. Not sure if we're going to see him go Earth Cave yet. Might just be picking it up now so he doesn't forget later.
Yeah, that's a good move, and I think it's worth waiting on the Earth Cave until after you've finished leveling. The more levels you have, the more likely it is that things in the Earth Cave will run away from you, and that's just, if you're already in go mode, saving that until the end isn't too bad. And hey, the Gerwolves have thunder, so.
Wait a minute, something has thunder in this seed? That's breaking news. I didn't know that.
I thought they had lit 3. Apparently they have thunder. Maybe they have both.
The imps had lit too. I don't know.
This has been an electrifying seed, to say the least.
Channeling your inner files on that line.
I give myself a D plus only because I showed up.
Alright, so it looks like Papa Foy's is not checking the out-of-the-way chest here in the Sea Shrine. He does have the room ahead with 4 treasure chests to check. And I can kind of understand that. You also have the option to make the play for Mirage Tower, where you can get to a lot of treasure chests quickly and hope that one of those has a ribbon at least. Looks like Split Punched is also here in the Sea Shrine.
Yeah, and it looks like Brilliant getting the first taste of Agama Thunder. They're defending themselves somehow. The Agamas went and bought tasers.
You know, every once in a while, the Agamas punch back. So
now
it looks
we've
like
got the electricity puns really flowing in chat right now.
looks like Sho could basically high five with Papa Foy's right now, working his way down the Kraken side of the Sea Shrine. But this will be his first fiend, so Papa Foy's is ahead on the orb count so far.
Do we know the levels of the other folks that are somewhat in the lead?
I think I saw 18-ish for Split.
Oh, Broadster finds a T-Rex. Enjoy that experience.
Okay, if anybody feels like clipping it, I know that may not seem like much, but I do believe that is the first one we have seen since even the tournament. I don't think we saw one in the tournament. I think that's the first one we've seen between the tournament and the league. How early was that in the encounter table?
That's what I'm wondering. Is this a viable grind?
So yeah, I assume that was 2. This would be 3.
Yeah, the problem being that the rest of these encounters are not great. So I guess that was just a random group 8 that he came across.
And Papa Foy's is working on the Kraken fight, and Kraken doesn't want to cooperate too much.
So Brilliant heading into the carry fight with a full group, and this is going to go a lot smoother. So Fire Orb lit for Brilliant. And Kraken not playing nice, but the reordering of the party by Papa Foy is paying off, and the fighter in the back row getting the job done.
Thank you for the clip. Appreciate it. I don't know, somebody may tell me I'm wrong later, but I do think that's the first T-Rex we've seen.
Yeah, at this point, I wonder if we've seen more Iron Gulls than T-Rexes.
Well, I mean, they come in packs of 3 and 4, so...
That is true.
I mean, if anybody ever saw a pack of 4 T-Rexes, that might overflow the non-overflow system.
It's our chance to see how many levels you can get at once.
What I mean by that, by the way, is you may notice that these experience numbers might look a little low versus vanilla, and that is because they redid the experience formulas to basically lower the level up requirements by the same at which they lowered the rate you get experience. So it's the exact same ratio for everything, but it prevents experience overflow in certain encounters. And meanwhile, Artea is actually in Mirage Tower. So let me see if I can get an update on him. He looks to be in the 20 range, and if he's here, then I assume he is looking for ribbons. He is on floor 2.
How many party members does Artea have alive?
He is running all 4 party members.
Interesting.
No, I'm sorry. He's doing 2. He's doing the Knight and Ninja. I spoke too soon.
So he'll probably bring back all 4 for the run through Temple of Fiends, but getting those 2 experience going through Mirage Tower, that might pay off big time. Especially since the ninja can learn fast.
And he's starting at 22 at this point, so he could potentially get level 25 for them before leaving here. I'm not yet sure what his orb count is, so I'm going to try and keep an eye on that for a minute here.
Ice Blue finding Dragon Armor. So Aegis Shield and Dragon Armor on the tail, or excuse me, on the table here.
Very good options, especially with no ribbon yet.
And a Pro Cape. So good stuff in the waterfall, but still no ribbon.
Well, who cares what the song says? Go chase waterfalls.
Absolutely. Always do that first, unless you're hoping to buy Warp in OnRack.
Yeah, especially if I'm still looking for just one item for Go Mode, because if it's in there, then I am that much happier going through the Sea Shrine.
That's exactly what happened for the record run. The record in this is a 115 by Miat, and he found the slab in the waterfall.
We have seen people put up some impressive times with the randomizer. Now, flags can infect that a bit, and that's one of the things they were doing with this round. It's got a lot less bonus experience than we were dealing with in the tournament, so less leveling. It runs a little bit slower than those tournament races did, on average.
And Papa Foy's taking a look at Mermaid Village. Warps out, so we'll get to see what the chests are on the other side.
It looks like Artea has 2 orbs, so to be his 3rd. I think that actually puts him, well, especially with the fact he's in Mirage Tower, I believe he's in first place of our runners right now.
Power Gauntlet for Papa Foy's, always a nice pickup. But still no ribbons. So at this point, you get the bad feeling, and you're hoping that all the ribbons aren't stuck in Temple of Fiends.
There's still places you can check, but like I said, how out of your way do you go to check them? Papa Foy's was willing to go see the mermaids, which is not an unreasonable play at all.
Yeah, it looked like he was willing to see the mermaids, but not willing to clear that intermediate floor that's crawling with unrunnables, and it's a play that I like.
Looks like Split Punched is also in Mirage Tower at this point. This would be his 2nd fiend, so he's up there, but still quite a bit behind Artea.
Brilliant picks up the tail, and will soon have the floater. Looks like Ice is checking the mermaids out as well, so he'll be disappointed by no ribbons, but happy to find that power gauntlet.
And Brilliant has just found the floater.
And Papa Foy's will be picking up the cube as soon as he gets through this mummy fight. So it looks like Ice is going to keep digging the middle floor, and we'll see if this pays off.
Show, by the way, off stream has actually turned in the adamants, so he is the first runner we know of that has Excalibur. And it looks like we're going to be able to bring Artea in here. He does seem to be our leader at this point, so that's why we wanted to bring him into the feature. And he is on a ribbon hunt right now.
Apparently so, Cactus. I guess they changed Dan's corpse just to get him ready for the funeral. Oh, question in chat, how many of the runners will move on to round 2 from this race? So all of the runners will continue to participate in the next rounds, but their point totals from the previous rounds carry over. And so all of the winners from the previous rounds will have lower point totals since they scored 0 points. And the goal is to have the lowest point total by the end of the league.
And it's interesting to see the way that the scoring is actually playing out. With the number of races we have, a lot of people have a chance to put up wins and tie that lead at 0.
It also incentivizes people who have already won to enter again to play defense. And that was an interesting consequence of the scoring system that I didn't appreciate until seeing it in action.
Yeah, I mean, so many things. Like, one of our runners has a point... Is it 0.1 or 0.01? I think it's 0.01. Which sounded like a great score on paper, and then you realize that's only good for 6th place and maybe 7th after today.
So Brilliant is going to get the slab translated. Papa Foy's picking up the chime, and he'll head into Mirage Tower as soon as he gets through this peninsula again. Artea with 3 orbs lit and only has to go through Earth now.
Yeah, so Artea has obviously made very good progress while we weren't looking. And he's very capable of that. I believe he's put up our best Stage 1 time so far. Invis 2 and Harm 4 are available at level 2. I don't know that Harm 4 would be a spell I'd go for, but never going to turn down Invis 2, especially when we haven't found the white shirt yet. And still those elusive ribbons. And it looks like Papa Foy... Well, no, he already got... He did C, so he's not here to get the Oxale. Was he maybe looking for Pro Rings?
And Ice finds a ribbon. There's one in C.
Where was that at? Because we saw Papa Foy's go to the mermaid side.
It was in the very top of that middle floor. So digging for items, paying off for Ice here. Oh no, it was on the left side of. So it looks like he did mermaids first, and then is going to check left side. So yeah, it's on the left side, first floor.
Wow.
That one is a little out of the way as far as the treasure chests go, but I still try to route it in.
Yeah, I would usually do that as part of my Kraken side run.
And Green Ogres knowing Blaze and Ice too. This is just really unpleasant as far as those powerful elemental abilities go.
Let's see, Split Punched is working his way through the maze floor and is about to go for Warmix Bridge. Just to keep an eye on where some of our other runners are.
And it looks like Artea is pretty happy with everything that he's found, so he probably has enough ribbons to get through.
Well, if you've got one ribbon plus Dragon Armor, Aegis Shield, and a Pro Ring, that's not bad for a two-man party.
Yeah, you're pretty well set, although anything that can defend against Zap you would feel a lot better about. Looks like Papa Foy's found the ice armor, so flame shield and ice armor on the ninja is a pretty nice set of elemental resistances.
Am I wrong, or does Ice Shield also give a secondary one like Time Magic?
I think the only thing that blocks Time Magic is Black Shirt. I mean, other than the ribbon, of course.
A question in chat, are the characters walking really fast? In fact, they are. Now, this is one of the great things they did with the randomizer, and we don't always stop to take the time to mention these things, but when Entroper was making this, he invented a new category called conveniences, and he figured out how to do certain things in the code, like increase the walking speed. So they are able to hold the B button down while walking through a dungeon or the overworld, and get dash speed, which is, as I understand it, basically the same speed that your ship travels on the sea. And then it also had the nice effect of giving you a slowdown option for the airship, which is very handy when you're trying to land on one tile.
Yeah, there's a number of similar conveniences in the randomizer. You can buy 10 items in a shop, which is very, very handy. And you can also notice that the attack animations and cast animations have been sped up.
So Papa Foy's is working through this sky castle. Don't know if he would have gotten that ribbon out of C, because I don't know if he went that extra step to get it. But he's not checking the rest of these treasure chests. He just took the one. Or maybe he's going to do that floor off of warp. Yeah, and that looks to be the case, so... Or not. I was about to explain his strategy. Some people do, and then he's not doing that, so I guess there's no reason to.
I think he might be checking all of the chests on this floor and then warping back.
I actually thought he was going to alternate floors using warp. Warp back to the other floor, check one, come back to this floor. Save you time on the walk back. But it looks like he's done. And we'll have our first chance on stream at a Warmac.
We'll have first person into Temple of Fiends, Artea done, and going in at 134.40.
Hey, by the way, did you know that Medusas had thunder? Papa Foy's knows.
And I guess it was probably the Medusa group that had thunder.
So one of the things going on is, we hadn't really taken the time for this, but it's a script shuffle is in play here. So enemies can have things that they don't normally do, and I like to describe it this way. Do you want imps with nuke? Because this is how you get imps with nuke. They didn't have nuke today, they just had lit 2. Hey, by the way, gas dragons have toxic.
Trading in their poison for some toxic instead. But toxic, fortunately, Death Elemental and Pro Rings do a pretty good job at blocking that.
Update on a couple other runners. Looks like Show is about to go into Sea Shrine. And Split Punched is entering the Mirage Tower. No Warmex. The Phantom has more than 220 hit points.
Also hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, not having that healer can really show its colors in Temple of Fiends. Especially when your levels are a bit lower than we may be used to from the tournament. And in chat discussing about imps having things, well, they had lit 2 today, which is quite nasty in early game. Basically, if they got it off early on, you were deceased from that. But there's a lot of action ahead. This is the last chance race for stage 1, so it's your last chance to put up a win. Artea's trying to play spoiler on that. It's also last chance to improve your score. And then next up is stage 2. You want to talk about what that entails, Edge?
Yeah, stage 2 should be a lot shorter than stage 1. The goal is to take 4 white mages and defeat Lich. But the tricky
It sounds
thing,
so simple.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, and then you find out that Fade is not accessible, and then you feel much, much worse about your chances. So, interesting things to note. The store shuffle for weapons is off, so that you can always have access to the wooden hammers and the iron hammers. And with the spell shuffle still on, you have a chance of getting Fade, but you also have a pretty good chance of getting a strong healing spell or Life 2 early. So In some ways, it's easier, but your damage potential is significantly lower, and that can make going through some of the early bosses pretty difficult, especially if it's an early crown seed and you have to go through Astos.
Chad, am I wrong, or did we just see Life 2 at level 1? Because if that's the case, then Papa Foy's is going into... Well, not yet, but will be going into Temple of Fiends with Life 2. And I'm not sure if Artea has that. I would think so, I'm just not sure because I didn't see it. Oh, yeah, Ice Blue picked up Power Gauntlet along the way somewhere. I did not see where that was. Must have been in C in one of the not immediate paths.
That was on Mermaid Floor.
Okay. That falls within my general description.
It's definitely out of the way.
Papa Foy's is going to do Battle with the Lich.
And Artea getting some revenge on the Thunder Agamas.
We're seeing great effort out of Papa Foy's today. I mean, if Artea weren't in this seed, this would look like a really strong lead right now. Hey, did you remember that Agamas had Thunder? Because Artea remembers.
And hey, it turns out that Grey Wolves have Thunder as well. And the problem with not grinding a single party member is that they don't run away. Oh no, the werewolves have Exfer as well, so the follow-up Thunder does even more damage.
And Papa Foy's is just going to reset and do it again. I mean, how often do you see that when Earth Cave is your third dungeon?
I feel so bad for anybody that tried to cash the Ruby in, because it is so bad. Question in chat, is Exfer fixed? Exfer isn't fixed, but if enemies cast it on you, it works. So, a little bit unfair, but that's just the way it goes. We saw a tournament race at one point where I believe it was Czar got Exfer'd and then zapped. And Ice is going to take his promotion. Artea onto the water floor and uses Life 2 on the Black Mage, presumably to have someone that can cast Nuke and Ice.
Although he didn't move Dan to be in front of that Black Mage. Won't help for AoEs, but one of those minor things could make a difference.
And another Creme probably would have killed the Black Mage, but he survives.
Did the vampire kill Papa Foy's knight?
It looks like it. So, time for stacking fast on the ninja, and this is exactly the formation that Artea brought the Black Mage back for.
Now, I didn't see how much the waters had, but it looks like it's the 200 and change. So Ice 2 will be strong enough that it can kill him.
Yeah, the second follow-up should do it, just a matter of getting that turn off.
Yeah, if anybody did see what that vampire did, was it just a hit that was that strong, which is hard to imagine giving all the protection, so Death Touch seems very likely. Which could be very important soon for Artea. In other words, those are not the last vampires we're probably going to see.
And time for the old sacrificial land strategy. Dan brought back.
Hey, we've got our first on-stream look at Lich.
Oh no. And there's the nuclear. It looks like Kraken rolled pretty high evade, so this could be going not so good for Artea. That was a very good hit, though.
Well, Ice Blue has got to look at vampires, so I was trying to watch that fight and see if we got a glimpse of what happened with Papa Boys, but maybe the knight just didn't have enough health.
And there's the Whiz Vamps. And it looks like he's just going to burn this formation down with the Mage Staff rather than fighting it.
I mean, if he's just got the knight, then all of a sudden a couple more levels becomes really important.
The problem is he's very, very low on heal potions, so all of these hits are taking a toll.
But you're also a fan of, I'm not quite sure what to call this strategy, but sometimes it's safer to try and kill stuff than it is to run away.
Yeah, and in this instance, I think it's not a bad play. The only problem is you're out of heal potions right now.
Yeah, 21, that'll do 600.
And
but then you got to go through Tiamat.
Yeah, you have to do Tiamat, Chaos, and whatever is left on this fight. I just don't feel great about my chances, but maybe he can get a sorcerer group and just do some heal staff spamming, because that seems to be the best option at this point.
Tiamat lives through round 1.
It did very good damage, though. Follow up Lit 2, and if he gets another hit like that, that should be it for Tiamat.
Okay.
Yeah, he needs to engineer a healing situation, I think. This is not the fight to do it.
Yeah, this is the exact opposite of what he wanted.
Well, maybe if he can get through. It looks like they're not hitting his knight appreciably hard, so he could get away with it here.
Alright, did he get heal staff?
He does have heal staff.
Okay, well, there's the kind of hit you didn't want to see, but it was a crit.
Yeah, and I think you just have to kill all but one worm and just go for this.
Meanwhile, Papa Foy's has entered the Temple of Fiends at 147. Like I said, this has been a terrific run on his part. I mean, well, we've shown a lot of love to Artea just because he got in here and did such a masterful job getting out in front, but this is not over. Also, with Papa Poise bringing the full party instead of just the two-man strats of Artea, might be a little better equipped to handle some of the things that Artea went through.
Yeah, and it looks like the worm is dealing consistently the amount of damage that the heal staff is putting up. So, unfortunately, this is going to be rough.
Right, he starts changing his formation. And that's going to put the pressure on Bob for any melee attacks. But he's probably not living through a nuke.
So, Bob did his job.
Absorbed a couple of hits and he got the fast off first.
So now this is, oh, wow. The final insult, a 400 damage crit.
Does Artea go right back for it? Does he try and get some levels on early Temple of Fiends?
I think Artea is, if he's aggressively playing defense, he has to go right back in. Because right now he's already won a league race, and if all he's trying to do is block other people from getting 0 points, he can afford to play this as risky as possible. And then we have Papa Foy's look like he just reset. So this is not going to be a very easy Temple of Fiends, it looks like. And anybody that invested the time into a black belt, this may be the kind of seed where it pays off.
Or just any kind of magic defense. Hey, Opal Bracelet and Ribbon side by side in this Sky Castle. That's big for Ice Blue.
Yeah, so he's found 2 ribbons digging some out of the way treasure chests, and that's paid off big for him. And this is one of those encounters that Artea really doesn't want to run into. Fortunately, having the mage staff, but still very time consuming for not much gain.
It looks like these are our only 2 runners currently in Temple of Fiends, but it also looks like Split Punched is about to join him. He is working on Lich now, which will be his last fiend. So what is your gut reaction seeing what we have seen? We know you can hit that chaos. Do you think the 2-man strats for Artea will pay off? Do you think Papa Foy's is better set up for it?
I think Papa Foy's is definitely better set up for it, having the whole party available, and with the Source of Resurrection in the night. The only problem is his low levels. If he had the knight at 24, he would get an extra hit off the Mazmune, and that's not a trivial difference.
And again, thank you to Mythical, who has done such a great job of being able to swap our runners in. Looks like we're able to get Split Punched up here now, and as I said, he's about to be our 3rd runner into Temple of Fiends. So we're trying to keep you up on the front runners, and these 3 definitely seem to be the ones out there so far.
And it looks like Split Punch has the fighter at level, or the knight at level 25, so he is definitely in better shape damage-wise. And looks like the Green Medusas have paralysis, which any on-effect abilities on Green Medusas is always bad.
Yeah, that held up Artea on his last run through as well. He spent some time on the Green Medusa fight. It's also making a little more advantage of that heal staff along the way, which that can pay off. I like to call those maintenance heals.
So 3 people in Temple of Fiends right now, and this will be Split Punch's first attempt.
1.5 for Papa Foy's. He didn't make it very far the first time. In fact, I think he's already further.
So onto the carry floor, and Grey Worm's not so great as far as experience goes, so if he was hoping to pick up some levels on the way down, these are not the fights that he wants to see. Question in chat: what happened to Brilliant? Brilliant is still playing. We rotated in some of the other runners on this race. There, I believe, 17 runners total, and we have pulled in feeds from a couple of the front runners just to see how they're doing.
And ties in with Sforzando's question, did anyone finish yet? We have not had a finisher yet. Artea got to Chaos, but he was knocked down. Pause for weak laughter. So this is his second trip through the Temple of Fiends. And then Papa Foy's and Split Punched are also in Temple of Fiends Revisited, and those are our only 3 runners that we've seen so far get to this point.
It looked like Chaos did not have very many hits, but each one of them hit hard, and that's not so great. Looks like Split Punch lost a party member somewhere, but with a few Life 2 charges, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you might save it for the Fiend fights, however. That is his black belt. Well, that's a good point. Kraken 2 has nuclear. We shouldn't overlook that. And we also have an asterisk, little bit of concern about the vampire.
So, one of the problems with Kraken having nuclear is that for Artea, you're almost forced to burn the life charges because Kraken also hits very hard. And if you elect not to resurrect the party members and he attacks, then you're in bad shape. But if he uses nuclear, then you've lost 2 charges of life 2 for almost no gain. So it's a coin flip situation, and it's very unenviable for Artea.
So currently it is Papa Foy's who is the furthest along of our runners. He's not seen nuclear come out to play yet.
There is a white shirt available for Papa Foy's, though, or that may have been an Invis 2 off the night. Either way, definitely helpful.
Before anybody blames me, I just want to say that is not a caster's curse. We already knew Kraken had nuclear. Alright, if you can get through this, he's got the life 2, he gets through it. Kraken 2 is down. Wonder if you might not even try 2-manning or 3-manning Tiamat and save a life 2 charge until you get to Chaos.
Yeah, it's very likely that whoever you bring back at this point is gonna not be alive. So that's the last fast charge out of the ninja, though. So he has to be careful here.
It's a gutsy play, but if you're going to do the 2-man strategies, then you've got to be committed to taking Tiamat down. So I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, and so far down goes the thief, but the thief is kind of at the end of their usefulness here, so not a huge deal.
And looks like he's going to try and get through the rest of this floor on just the knight.
This may actually pay off big depending on how many levels he picks up on this fight. He has enough to heal off all of the damage the worms are going to do.
As long as you don't take too many crits. But it looks okay now for just the one left.
Yep.
Also seems like he maybe took a few more steps than Artea did because he got that fight sooner.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Artea on the water floor, and is going to get slowed up by a group of 6 and no more ice charges. So this is not great.
Did he not get black shirt? We saw a couple runners get it.
Yeah, I think Arteo was well into go mode at that point. Elected to do air early, and so found those ribbons and didn't really crack open any more chests.
All right, our second look at Chaos. And Papa Voice is going to basically try and do this with just the Knight. Nuke for some supplemental damage is not going to be a bad thing.
If you can get both of those charges off before hitting the deck, that'll be good.
Only 97 damage. This is bad news.
Yeah, this is the kind of fight where having the defense sword would pay off big, but I don't
Not against
think...
nuclear, though.
Nope. And I don't think any of our runners have found that yet.
Not that we have seen on stream, so Papa Voice is our second to go down against Chaos. That will put, I think, Artea back in the lead of the pack.
And Artea doing significantly better on heal potions.
So knowing what you know now, how does it change your thinking? If at all. Because, oh, by the way, Artea does not yet know that Chaos has nuclear. I don't think he saw that last time.
No, he just he took a crit for 400.
Invis 2 was learnable by the Knight, but I don't think it's going to be worth it in this instance. You're probably going to have to try and do 2-3 rounds of Power Gauntlet and then swing away and just hope you don't take 2 nuclears.
Yeah, I feel like the Kraken fight for Artea is really stressful on the resources to the point where consistently the Black Mage doesn't live. And Split Punch has the black shirt and is using it to good effect here.
So Artea has talked about in the past his strategy versus grinding strategies being built for able to survive a wipe and still go through Temple of Fiends again before somebody with a grind can get ahead of him. So this has to be the area where he would worry about losing.
Yeah, he has about one more shot at it, and
and the question really becomes also, has one of the runners who we haven't necessarily followed as closely gained a few more levels? Because a few more levels is a little bit more hit points and a little bit more magic defense, and that can make all the difference.
Yeah, my question would be, where is Sho in all of this? Because he generally does the heavy black belt grind.
Let's see, he is in Elfland at the moment. He appears to still have an orb to go. But I'll let you know when I get a look at his level.
Yeah, unfortunately, just the solo grind was very, very rough this seed. Split trying for some Quad X shenanigans, but not enough damage dealt. And looks like Artea is going to have another shot at Chaos with 3 party members alive. And so we'll get to see if that leadoff nuclear throws a wrench in Artea's plans.
Well, now Artea knows that Chaos has nuclear. Got that out of the way early.
And Artea doing even less damage now, so this is yeah, this is not going well so far. And with no sources of evasion, this is going to be very challenging for Artea to complete.
Well, this is the seed we knew the whole time we could have, but maybe we finally got it on the last try, the one that's got the really hard Temple of Fiends. As Artea takes wipe number 2.
Yeah, so now we have split punched on the Tiamat fight, and he may be able to get through this fight with 4 party members alive, provided he has a life charge left.
Okay, it looks like Artea has decided to say good game. Artea and Will Bloodworth have both withdrawn from the race at this point.
So, not a bad strategy from Artea. Play very aggressively in the hopes that you can defend some chaos points from other people that are running in the league, but he's decided to hang it up right now. And Split is another winner of a previous league match, so we'll see if he can successfully play some defense with this chaos fight coming up.
So it looks like Artea moving on. I think we'll try and get Show in here. It kind of makes sense for Artea. I mean, there is a chance you could go through and still win knowing how hard this is, but you'd have to grind first. Oh! Do we have a finisher? Apparently, we have a winner.
Yeah, Quicklet finishing at in first. Just as soon as Artea wiped. So we'll see if we can get Quicklet in for an interview.
Apparently he's a little worried about his mic quality. I apologize we missed that. I guess he must have run under Retro instead of Final Fantasy, so when I was trying to check on the racers, I unfortunately overlooked him.
So we'll pull him into the we'll pull him into the commentary room right now. GG Quicklet, congratulations.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
We do. So
Terrific.
You kind of snuck up on us. Tell us about your run.
Well, I went to Ordeals first, which had basically nothing in it, but zombie dragons were really, really easy. But they hit kind of hard. The problem was, I think on my second or third step off the tile, I ran into 7 mummies, and they wiped out my entire party except for my fighter. So I was planning on doing a black belt grind, which turned into a fighter grind, and that actually probably worked out better for me. So I got my fighter up to 21 or so, and then I left there. And then from then on, I just left my black belt dead. Unfortunately, Topher turned out to be pretty easy.
So the mummies,
it helped that I found
not the mummies,
the tail.
Medusas didn't cause you problems in Ordeal?
I think I only ran into 2 packs, and on one of them, like I got off a Zeus gauntlet right away. So I didn't have a lot of issues with the Medusas now.
All right, we'll say good game to Split Punched, who's going to come in second with a time of 2:07.56. The Medusas had Thunder. What didn't have Thunder this seed, though?
Yeah, seriously.
So GG to Split, finishing with a time of 2:07.56, and we'll try to get Split in real quick.
So quick, how high did you take your knight/fighter?
I got him to 21. I think at the very end of the game he was 28, maybe.
Okay, that would definitely be the highest we saw out of anyone.
The only issue, like Kraken was a little bit difficult, But he didn't even hit very hard. He just had decent evade.
Looks like
So I used
Brodster-
most of my nuke charges on him.
Looks like Brodster is working on the Chaos fight right now.
And
Probably
looks
not
like,
enough time to switch him in, but I'm gonna keep an eye.
it looks like Papa Foy's found out that the bad men had Stone Touch,
They have
lugging
to live
3
up to their
statues
name.
around. And it looks like Split's in the waiting room. We'll pull him in right now. GG, Split.
GG.
GG, man.
I saw a lot of people complaining about that seed, and it wasn't like terrible. I would just describe it as really like tedious. Like there wasn't a lot of stuff that was super scary, but everything was really annoying.
And real quickly, Brodster did take a wipe on that Chaos battle. So, talk us a little bit about your high points of that run, Split Punched.
Fighting Masa and the Zeus Gauntlet in Temple of Fiends is pretty cool. Finding out that Encounter Formation 3 was useful for something when I grinded other vampires was cool. Encounter Table 3 pretty much everywhere else was really annoying.
I'm sorry if I'm misremembering, but were you the one who found a T-Rex?
I don't think
That-
I found a T-Rex.
That was me. Yeah, I found a T-Rex.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I wasn't. My encounter, like, there weren't any obvious long pauses in the encounter table, so I barely did any of it.
So, as far as Thunder being everywhere, that pretty much had to be the Medusa script, right?
I could pull things up and see if I can check.
Did the Agamas? The Agamas don't have the same. I know the Agamas had Thunder, and the Medusas, and obviously the green Medusas would too, but I didn't run into any of those on in Topher. I ran into a lot of Earth stuff.
I ran into plenty of Gerbedusas, but they died because I kept mage staffing them, so I never found out they had Thunder.
Yeah, it seemed like
several of our runners made the early ordeal play and found that was not the most friendly thing, and then your great reward was Adamant.
Yeah.
I mean, Adamant wouldn't have been too bad this seed if you hadn't given the Masa and literally the first chest. Or was it the second chest? It was one of the first 3.
Close enough. First location. So, Kraken was definitely an impact on this seed. We saw Artea get there very quickly. I think he was still the first one to get there, but
I kept glancing over at the IRC waiting for him to done. Because he played, I know he plays what I basically tried to do this run, whereas use the fighters and kind of ignore the black belt. And it was working really well, so I kept waiting for him to finish before me, but I guess I got a lot luckier on Chaos.
he was trying to do a 2-man strat, so he was just running the Knight and the Ninja, which wasn't real. He would bring up the other party members for the Fiend fights, but didn't seem to be quite durable enough to get through the end.
Oh yeah, I had 2 charges of life too, so I had to use it once to bring my ninja back, but I didn't have enough to like bring a guy back for every Fiend fight.
Was I the only one who spent a bunch of time like leveling up before Temple of Fiends were visited?
I didn't do anything. I mean, I fought like a lot of fights in Sky that I just happened to run into. A lot of Wiz vampires and stuff, but I didn't do any like grinding after Sky.
Yeah, and I did like my fighter. I think by the end was like 26 or 27 because I finished Sky and then went back to Sky because I was like, there's like nothing but threes at the beginning of this table, so I'm just gonna fight all these vampires that die really fast.
Well, I had done a solo grind with my fighter, so he was pretty decently leveled. He was a lot higher than everyone else in my party.
Yeah, so I think setting up the solo grind was what a lot of people found difficult, and especially trying to set that grind up at a lower level. I noticed there were a lot of people that were trying to go into ordeals where one thunder would be an instant wipe. So, sort of the difference between encounter groups being annoying and encounter groups being impossible.
So Ice Blue furthest along of our runners right now, as Sho is getting past Carrie. Brilliant is also in Temple of Fiends. He's working his way over to Lich. So 5 runners still in Temple of Fiends. Either one of you guys want to answer this. Did you expect this to be a close finish, Seed? Because 3 minutes apart is one of the closer races we've seen.
I had no idea. Like I was either expecting to be. I'm trying to like either I was way in front or everyone was going to finish like 10 seconds before me. Like I had no. It was either awful or great, and I didn't know which one.
Well, like I said, I kept waiting for Artea to finish, and I guess he got really unlucky on Chaos.
I'm gonna admit I saw the done kind of out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh, Artea, you're not Artea. Whoa. Because I think we finished like 1, 2, or 2, 3 in literally every race we've both been in.
So
in the league, I mean.
So let's talk a little bit about Stage 2 getting started here soon. What are you most looking forward to?
I hope we get some crazy seeds with, bonking Artos and stuff. Astos.
I would like seeds that don't have fade because that makes people do weird crap, and I think weird crap is hilarious.
Have you started practicing Stage 2 yet, or are you going to get into that now that Stage 1 is finally done?
I think I've done 5 or 6 Stage 2 races.
I've done a couple. I'm not too worried about because again, I'm expecting it to be dumb, and I'm really good at dumb crap, so I'm not as worried about this. I'm much more worried about some of the other ones.
Yeah, there's a lot fewer variables to deal with when you have to, only kill up to Lich. So there's only so much you can really practice.
So Ice taking a nuclear to the face in the Kraken fight, but all of the party members are still alive. Looks like Papa Foyce is also on the Kraken fight here. So
that's interesting for Ice Blue.
Floor.
First time we've seen that. But boy, he's low on heal potions.
The first time we've seen the nuclear out of Kraken, or
the first time we've seen an entire party live through Kraken.
Technically, my entire party lived because the black belt was already dead.
Yeah, I did the same.
I'm sorry,
I did
that's not
a
even
3-man.
technically correct.
The relevant party members, all of the party members who were hit by Kraken stayed alive.
Papa Foyce is up to Tiamat 2. This is his second trip this far.
And Ice having to burn a Cure 3 out of the Life 2 slot feels bad. But if he can get through this fight, he may have enough and resources to bring everybody back. Nope. That black belt's staying dead.
Did you both power cycle through here before you went in?
I did not, no.
I did, but then I burned 3 encounters because I knew they were going to be... I'm pretty sure they would have been the Frost Dragon encounters, and I wanted to be sure they were out of the way. Because if I was wrong and they weren't Frost Dragons, they were going to be unrunnables on floor 2 or 3.
Okay, I was curious because we had seen worms pop up for a couple people, and I wasn't sure if that was off power cycle or not.
That shouldn't be. Yeah, because like the first 4 encounters are all Formation 3, which is...
I'm sorry,
Frosties.
I mean after Tiamat.
Oh, after Tiamat?
Yes, we saw 2 runners get into worm encounters before they got to the staircase.
Yeah, I think you would get that off depending on how many encounters you burned after a power cycle, because I got that right before the stairs too.
I don't think I had any encounters on air at all. I had 2 water encounters and then a lot of earth elementals.
So Papa Foy's forfeiting.
Ooh, Rub. I was wondering what happened. We saw the forfeit before we saw what happened, but if that wasn't through a ribbon, then that was through Pro Ring Aegis and Dragon Armor, which, ow.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, but 3 and 256 if that happens.
And
Where was
GG to Ice Blue.
Power bonk? Because I never found it.
That was in the mermaid floor.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant has just gotten to the Chaos fight, so we'll see if we can potentially get him in. Trying to get an idea for who's still out there. Doesn't really look like anybody's in Temple of Fiends or close right now. I think Maya is the only other one who's about to go into Temple of Fiends.
And we got a lot of people starting to finish right now. Bratster finishing in 4th with a time of 2:20:44, and Show is at the Chaos fight right now.
30 seconds apart.
Yep.
Now it's time relative to the winner that decides these points. It's not order of finish, so that's not a painful snipe for Show, who I think Show already has a win anyways.
No, he's at 0.01.
And we have Brilliant in the Chaos fight now.
So Brilliant is able to GG. He finishes in 6th with 222. Maya looks to be on his last orb, so he's got to get all the way to Lich first. Just checking to be sure I'm not missing anything else.
And we'll see if we can get some of the folks who just finished into the Discord, get their thoughts on the seed.
Oh, Ice Blue's here. Hi, Ice Blue.
What's up?
Well, you tell us. Did you expect to finish 3rd with that?
I mean, it wasn't that bad of a seed, to be honest. I saw nothing really terrifying minus the fact that everything early had thunder.
Everything and its cousin.
That was literally the only thing wrong with that seed, which is everything was thunder, 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 thunder. But then it was really tame at the end.
You did, however, have that Kraken 2 with Nuclear, which proved problematic for several runners.
Hello, hello.
And we're joined by Show and Brilliant, so GG to both of you.
Thank you.
What were your thoughts on the seed? Show, first with you.
wasn't bad. Mass Moon and Zeus Gauntlet early was nice. So that was really helpful. And then nothing too crazy. I mean, Gerwolves had Thunder, which was annoying, but I didn't see that too much. Other than that, wasn't bad. I killed the War Mech.
I'm now very sad because we missed it.
We're joined by Brat. GG to you as well.
Thanks. What was in the Ordeal's chest? I died, I think, 6 or 7 times in there and just said, nope.
Adamant.
Adamant?
Yeah.
I was guessing it was a ribbon because I didn't find one.
Really? I had all 3.
I had 2 of them. One was in. I took a really, really greedy gamble in Sky Castle 3rd floor and went right side to the 6th chest, and I found opal armor, opal bracelet, and a ribbon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I found those too.
Yeah, I was telling myself, I was like, should I? I was like, let's be greedy, and I went and checked those chests because it's 6 chests, and I was like, worth.
I pretty much had to go after I killed probably 25 minutes just dying. I went to try to power level early. I went right to get the ship. I didn't go up to Garland, and so I went to the Peninsula Power and died a bunch of times, and then went and found Mass Moon. I was like, oh, maybe I should have went there first.
Well, Frost Wolves weren't hard, and they died to Zap pretty easily.
Yeah, but I only got Zombles every time.
Wow. That sucks.
That's because off power cycle you got Zomble 4 times in a row.
Oh. I didn't know that.
You guys went over to POP. I grabbed TNT and just immediately went to Crescent Lake. I was like, you know what? I was like, I have 300 gold. I'm not even gonna bother going to Elfland right now. I'm just gonna keep going.
I jumped into, I mean, I was like level 6 or 7 or whatever, but I jumped into the first floor of Earth because I wanted money, because the nuke was in Melmond and I couldn't afford it.
That makes sense. I didn't know Nuke was there until late game.
Did you guys
when I
2-man, 3-man?
turned in slab there.
I did 3-man for most of it. Just left my black belt dead.
I kept everybody alive.
Thief was dead for me. My black mage was level 20 or something when I finished, and fighter and black belt were 27 or 28 or something.
Okay.
It was an annoying seed though. Everything had, oh, you're dead. Medusas, and I kept fighting Medusas on the top floor of Ordeals, and they just wiped me with thunder.
Okay. I got stun locked by Gargoyles. That was annoying, but I just reset out of it after a couple times.
I got
Sure.
stun locked by Carry 1, and I wiped.
Ouch.
I got stun locked by what? It wasn't too bad, but the Gurmedusas had stun locked me for a couple rounds.
I was waiting for the Thundercats to show up with that. You know, how many casts of thunder I saw early game.
I was just
But,
thankful for no nuke man cats, because I got those I think a couple races ago or something.
I didn't see Nuke this seed. I was pretty sad.
The 4 fiends we visited were pretty easy, but Chaos was a little bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
I only saw Fire 3 and Ice 2 from Chaos.
I saw
then he died?
Nuclear twice the first
Oh
time.
yeah, no, I did
went
see a
through.
nuclear, right?
He did also
I-
have Swirl.
Yeah, he swirled me and nuked me twice, or nucleared me twice in the first fight.
And his hits weren't shabby either.
I feel like he was one shot from dying when he hit me down to 1 hit point, and then he got the first action the next round. It was really close. It would have been a pretty awesome ending if I would have got him there.
Well, let's expand this a little bit and talk about Stage 1 in review now that we've wrapped it up. And Quicklet, I'd kind of like to start with you because you pulled off the dream scenario for runners. You sniped that last win in your last chance.
I mean, I loved this round. I think it, like most, when I first started playing this, it was just, I was watching the tournament a lot, and pretty much everyone was copying the whole level of black belt up to 32, and then, or 42, depending on what the scale was, and then just go finish off chaos. And that wasn't, I mean, sometimes it was the best option in this round, but a lot of times it wasn't.
Yeah, this format's a lot better in my opinion, because like you said, it was very stale with just everyone doing black belt every time. So yeah, we had a black belt this time, but you won't get that every time, especially next stage.
You also can't really grind up a black belt to 42 in an efficient time on 2.2.
Exactly. So it makes people have to, do different strategies, and I think it shows that people who have a good time with this, not, I wouldn't say they understand the game more by any means, but I mean they might be able to adapt a little easier because they're used to not using a black belt, versus the people who only exclusively use black belt might struggle a little more at first until they get used to it.
Sho, I think you're one of the most interesting people to hear from on this topic, because points-wise, putting up a .01 sounds great. Sounds great. You're ninth.
Yeah, it's annoying. Especially after I watched like the race, VOD of the first race. I was ahead by 15 minutes, and then the wipe to chaos, and then going back in, and Len and I were tied. Like, I actually killed Tiamat 2 before he did, but because I ran into a 4-worm encounter before the chaos room and he got a free run, he beat me by a minute. So that was a little annoying. But I mean, .101 of a chaos point isn't terrible. I mean, there are 7 more rounds, so anything can happen. But I mean, it's not the worst thing. But like Quickly was saying, adaptability and flexibility to the various rounds is going to be key for players. Because I personally like running black belts, but I know how to use like fighters and white mages and thieves and stuff like that, so it doesn't bother me. The thing that annoys me the most about this first round is just the low experience. It's kind of slow for me. I like to play fast, but I mean, it's still fun. It's frustrating, but it makes you think in a different way, which is cool.
So speaking of fast, as we move into stage 2, we're looking at some potentially very fast seeds. Ice Blue, let me get you in on this one. What are you thinking going into stage 2?
I mean, the 4 white mage lich race doesn't sound like it could be too bad unless you run into a seed where you have like no fade, no items to use for spells, and you have to fight Astos. That's the only thing I can see as a terrible situation, but it's a low chance of it happening.
And real quickly, let's say GG to Bismarck, who was our 7th place finisher at 231. Brilliant. Let's get you involved a little bit. What do you think going into stage 2?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how people handle these races. Because I think pop grinds are going to be very favorable in that if harm shows up early.
I don't think so, because a lot of the encounters in Earth Cave are undead.
It was one of the interesting dynamics of this stage 1, is we kind of saw the meta of it evolve as we went along different plays, and it'll be curious what maybe we see evolve in dealing with stage 2. One of the things that'll come up, though, is there are more stage 2 races scheduled than there were stage 1. So, throw this out to anyone, how much do you plan to take advantage of that?
About as much as I did for stage 1. This was my 2nd race.
Well, I'll probably race. I have to race later in the later races because I'm very busy over the next week and a half. So I'm probably not going to get very many in.
Bismarck, good game to you. How do you feel?
Thank you. I guess all right. After taking off 8 days and spending time and having a sick kid and not sleeping all week, I feel like I could have done better, but I'm not too disappointed, I guess. I don't feel like I did anything stupid. Let me put it that way. I think I could have made a couple better choices, and I think I got really stubborn wanting to get into the Titan Cave. But other than that, nothing terrible.
Did you take the ruby bait and go to Titan early?
I did. I wanted to see if there was anything there, if we could get an early floater or something like that.
There was some
Normally
good
I
stuff
would
in
never
there,
do that, but I was feeling froggy. So you know how that goes.
Wasn't there a ribbon in there or something?
Aegis Shield was in the Titan.
Yeah,
Aegis
the Aegis
Shield,
Shield
that's
was
right.
in there. So, I mean, I was happy. I mean, not that it really mattered. I could have ran with the Opal Shield, but Overall, I mean, given the lack of sleep I've had this week and all the issues been going on with the sick speedrunner Hudson, I'm happy with how it went.
So you get stage 2 to look forward to. Any thoughts going into that?
Thank God it's not stage 1.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really mind stage 1. It's just some of the seeds can be just not fun. Was the only real issue. A seed like this is fine. This was a fun one from start to finish. But sometimes you get in those 3-on-1 seeds where you just want to take a nail gun and put it to the back of your head. That might have been a little too graphic. Sorry.
There was nothing really thunderous about this seed.
No, not at all. I mean, except for the thunder.
And it's
Who
not
had
like
that?
the imps
Who
were
was it?
electrifying at the early game or anything.
Gerwolves and Medusas had thunder.
Gerwolves,
Yeah.
Medusas, let's see, Bulls had Fire 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fire
it was
3
no
wasn't
thunder.
fun. I actually had some trouble in the Earth Cave. I think I wiped like twice. Once to Bulls and then once to Geis, maybe?
You were not
Guys
alone.
had
Somebody
glare, I
else ran
think.
into trouble there.
Yeah, Geis glared me down. They glared my fighter and my black belt, and that was after I had class changed and had a 32 black belt. That was embarrassing.
Oh, by the way, I don't think any of you got the chance to see this, but Papa Foy's got to see that Chaos had rub because it worked.
Oh, that's harsh, man. Feels bad, man.
He probably had the power bonk equipped instead of a pro ring, right?
He had it. I don't know if he had, I don't know what was equipped. He was using Power Gauntlet at the time.
See, I never found the power bomb, but if it's up to me, my pro ring always stays on. I'll take a helmet off before I'll take the pro ring off. Too many bad things can happen. So how did everyone else's run go? Did anybody grind black belt other than me?
Nope. I grinded my full party to 15 or 16 in Ice Cave because I went there first, and then I pieced.
I was planning on grinding a black belt, and that plan fell through. So my fighter was the only one left alive, so I grinded him for a bit.
Yeah, I was kind of the mind that depending on how monsters treated my party in Ice Cave, I got to the eye with like 30 health in my fighter, so I just said to hell with it, let him die. And stuck the Masamune on the black belt, grinded him up. And then once I got him up to 32, I went ahead and revived my thief, threw the Masamune on him, got the Excalibur and put it on the fighter, and just kind of rock and rolled.
You actually kept the adamant. I reset immediately out of there.
I thought about it, but I did something stupid and saved right outside of the river near Ordeals, so there was no point in resetting now at that point. I mean, take the extra fight, wasted 15 seconds, and keep the adamant.
I didn't want to run the risk of running into a Medusa encounter 2 steps before I walk onto the throne.
So, what did you all think about the differences of running the big fields for these races instead of head-to-head like we did in the tournament?
It's nice to see big races. But it also makes you, infuriated to figure out like how you lost so much time when you only had like one minor wipe. I'm still trying to figure out how I lost 15 minutes to first place.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's you get. I didn't look at Hex Chat while I was playing, and then you get in there to go to .done, and you're like, holy crap! There's like 6 people that have already finished. I feel really bad.
Like my only major wipe was to carry because I got stun locked. Even like with Mazmune, I was doing like 100 damage, and she just paralysis touch.
I didn't even know she had paralysis touch. She never hit me.
Well, it was just fighter versus her because running down there I got thundered, I got blazed, I got fire 3'd, and I was just like, okay, so let's just do this.
All right, looks like Maya is about to give us a look at Chaos, and I think he's going in with the highest level party that we've seen.
I didn't even realize y'all had me on the stream. How long was I on there for?
We tried to rotate people out, especially as they were getting into the final dungeon. Unfortunately, I think Quicklet was restreaming under Retro, so I didn't realize he was in there until after he got done.
Nice.
But we've tried to look out for everybody. And Maya gets introduced to Nuclear from Chaos.
He had nuclear?
Yes.
They're going to throw things at you for that.
Well, like I said, I went in there with 3 guys, and right out of the gate, I casted fast, and wall on my black mage, and then casted fast one more time on my ninja, and I don't think I made it 3 rounds, or he was dead. I'm really big on reviving the ninja once I get where I want to be with my levels. What's the point of not leveling him up a little bit? I mean, if he's level 17 instead of level 4, when you get there, he might take 2 hits, and he's a little bit more of a pincushion for you.
And there's Swirl coming out from Chaos as Fuchsia is also into the fight.
Oh my god, Chaos was terrible.
He also hits quite hard.
I didn't see any of that.
No, all I saw was Fire 3, and that may be it. Oh, hey, everybody, say hi to Speedrunner Hudson.
Hi, Hudson.
Sorry, he just decided to say hi all of a sudden.
Yeah, we also saw that with Artea. After having to go through Kraken 2 on limited resources, getting into this Chaos fight, he took 2 wipes there before the first place was done.
Who wiped again?
Artea.
So he was at Chaos
Maya
and he
gets
wiped.
Maya gets through the Chaos fight.
GG to Maya.
220. Fuchsia is not far behind. He's done at 242. So this one was eventful. It maybe made you rethink the strategy you went in with.
Bismarck, you can't forfeit after you've done. Maybe.
Yeah, that was a. I'd call it a fat thumb, but we'll call it a fat brain instead.
Fat thumb. Okay, so you went to type in entrance and typed in forfeit.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. I wish I was joking.
Nice.
I don't know how that happened.
You just had it on the brain.
Something like that. So we still got what? 1, 2, 3 runners left? So is it a minute? Every minute increases your score by 0.01? Is that right?
I'm not good at that. I just know it's a percentage of the winning time.
Yeah, I think it's done with respect to the winner's time, so that in case it's a 2.5 hour seed, the weighting is going to be different.
Okay. I was just curious where I'm going to end up.
Hi everyone, how you all doing?
Spectacular. How are you?
Oh, I hear Speedrunner Hudson. Who cares about me? How's he doing?
Oh, he's been sick all week, man. We haven't been sleeping. He hasn't been sleeping. He actually just took a 3-hour nap. It's the longest stretch he's slept in a week.
Well, I hope he starts to feel better soon.
You and me both. Croup and then bronchitis is never fun.
Man, I'd like to get a 3-hour nap.
Well, get croup and bronchitis, and we'll let you take a 3-hour nap.
I'll work on it.
Just drink an entire bottle of NyQuil.
I think they made a music video about that.
It might be a little bit longer than a 3-hour nap, but at least you get the nap.
This is true. So Maya, your thoughts on this seed?
Silence, I like it. Wow. Very innovative.
He doesn't have any thoughts. He's Maya. He
You
makes
guys hear me
thoughts.
Yeah, we can
Oh
hear you.
yes.
Sorry about that. I clicked away and it didn't work anymore. I really like this seed. I had a couple of untimely wipes. I soft locked in ordeals, and then had to run backwards out of the volcano. I got down to the Agamas, and then that didn't go so well. So
Did you experience the Agamas?
I did. I experienced the Agamas. They experienced killing me, and then it was me and my poor little fighter running for my life backwards out of the volcano. But I made it, so not recommended, but I got it done.
The experience was very nice. When you walk in, they're like, "Hi, I'm just a red iguana." Thunder.
Right. So I ended up grinding sandworms because the first 3 encounters were group 3. So I went and did that up north, and then finished up after that.
I was not bad. I was actually pretty tame. He only had like 200 HP. And he died in one hit to the Mazmune.
So yeah, I enjoyed this seed. Stage 1 was super fun, but I'm ready to put it behind me now, and I think probably everybody else feels the same way. So
The seed was very electrifying, for sure.
Yes. And we'll get another taste of round 1 in round 8, except we'll get to pick our party members.
yeah, round 8 will be a completely different feel because of the force classes are gone. So and everybody can pick whatever it is they want. There were a lot of enemies in this seed that were unpleasant. Bulls had Fire 3, which I found out the hard way. Gerwolves had Thunder. It was just, there was a lot out there at the beginning that didn't like you. And then, of course, imps have the sleep spell. So my party took several naps trying to get over to Provoca.
I like to call them the Bill Cosby of the seed. They drugged you and then started to beat on you. A very, very nice introduction to a seed where you just run into constant like narcolepsy.
So how many people ground black belt as opposed to fighter?
Not I.
I think
I did.
Grounded. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm singing to my son right now because he's very unhappy. So if I disappear, I apologize.
No problem.
Got to take care of business. Maya, we didn't really see that many people do a grind, not among the early racers anyways, and I think you definitely went in with the highest total party level.
Okay, well, that would explain why I finished in 9th place then or something, because I was wondering how everybody got done so fast. So if I absolutely ground. I did not want to get to the end of with these flags. I would just rather go through Temple of Fiends Revisited once and be done with it. And so I take my 10 or 15 minutes to go ahead and do a grind. I got my fighter up to 26, 27, which I wanted the 4 magic charges, so it made sense anyways.
Yeah, with Life 2, Knight being able to learn Life 2, that was a pretty good thing.
I was happy with the Invis 2 since I couldn't learn Fog 2.
That was level 2, right?
Yeah, it was in Provoca.
I picked that up as well.
So I'm going to go ahead and hop out of chat now. I've got a little bit of work to do. There's this thing called Stage 2 starting at midnight tonight, Eastern, so I've got to get some work done before then. So I hope everybody stays up and is ready for the midnight Stage 2 launch because it's coming.
Night madness.
I will most definitely be there because I will not be there for the races probably during this coming week, so I'll have to at least get one in.
Got it. All right, everybody. Have a good one. I'll see you all later.
Obviously, GG's, Maya.
GG.
Showbot's gonna race one and get another 0.01.
If I finish the league with a 0.08, I mean, I should get like a prize for that. Because that
If
just
you
says
do, we'll come up with something.
You will get a 0.08% pat on the back.
oh, I'll take it. I mean, that's like, you finish like a minute or like 30 seconds behind the first place person at every race.
Show, if you pull that off, I'll buy you some Shake Shack. How does that sound?
Yes! I will gladly make the 5.5 hour drive to San Diego.
All right, I'm out of here, guys. Speedrunner Hudson is very fussy. GG, everybody. Sorry I haven't been around, but I will see y'all soon.
All right, thanks, Bismarck. I hope Hudson feels better soon.
You and me both.
Did anyone else kill a war mech?
No.
Oh. I think the worst part was I only got one level out of it.
I did, however, get 3 frost wolves encounters like within like 5 tiles of each other in 2FR.
Yeah, the encounter rate this
The
seed
table was really bad this seed.
Yeah, it was just kind of a little frustrating.
Well, hey, we got to see a T-Rex out of it, so I'm happy.
Whoever saw it, did they kill it?
Of course they did.
Okay. We don't kill Tyros, we kill T-Rexes because nobody likes Billy.
I killed Tyros too.
No. Yeah, you're playing the game wrong.
And the Jags are running away with it.
Tyros are friends, not food. However, T-Rexes, on the other hand.
T-Rexes are a big
I only
pile
saw-
of XP waiting for you to claim it.
Billy is just a very delicious meal.
See. I only ran into one Tyrai, I ran away.
I just reset.
Yeah. Yeah, the Warmac, I only had my fighter, my black belt, and I killed it, and it was like 1 level. I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to get 2. Oh well. You see 16,000 experience, and you're like, so sad.
Underwhelming.
One of our runners, and now it's just keeping me who it was, had to get through 4 sandworms with just a night in Masamune and got 2 levels out of that.
Oh. It's been nice.
2 worms, not sandworms.
The only time I saw a
4
double level
worms,
up was
not-
when I had 4 peds and I was like level 6.
The Pedes were not the nicest either, poison touch aside.
They were also not the nicest because they were nowhere on the encounter table.
Yeah. I tried to power cycle the peds, and I think I ran
power
into one.
cycled, I threw away like 15 encounters, and then finally a ped showed up, and I was like, finally.
Yeah, it was like 1.
We saw a couple people get them. I don't know, sometimes you don't know what went different.
That's right. Fires had Brack. I remember
Never
that now.
saw that. I saw the poison. Oh, and oh wow, and lit 3. That's beautiful.
Yeah, because I remember my knight, or I didn't have class change time, so my fighter got bracked. I was like, oh, okay. Not grinding fires.
Yeah, I got my fighter and ninja both racked at one point, and I think my black mage had to finish him off with the Zeus gauntlet because I was out of spell charges.
So how'd you guys like the ghosts?
Well, they hit hard, but they were kind of weak. I had nukes, so I just used that.
You didn't experience the touch?
They had death touch?
No, they had Stone Touch.
Oh, no, I didn't experience
Equally
that.
as bad.
I mean, if something's going to have Stone Touch, it's probably good that it's on something that only ever gets one hit.
I've actually seen a seed where Ghost had a 3-hit. That was pretty worrisome. It was a 500% though.
Oh.
I may be out of turn, but let me say this quick. Kids, if you ever decide to track a 4-way race, you better know what you're in for.
Especially when we start swapping runners out on you.
Yeah, much
Yeah,
appreciated
that's
for
right.
your.
Where was White Shirt?
I have no idea. We never saw it before now.
Who has the white shirt?
SBQ?
I'm guessing either Marsh or somewhere in Earthcave we didn't see.
Yeah, I think I cast Invis 2 on Kraken and then again on Chaos, and that was it. One cast each.
Oh, I just double cast it on Chaos. Gives me PTSD.
So, in addition to Terralyn having a lot to keep up with, Mythical 9 did as well, swapping these runners in and out for us and did a great job for that. So, want to give a lot of props there as well.
It's a really
And-
weird reskin on SBQs. I don't know if I like that TOFR background.
It looks like Double Dragon.
And it's kind of triggering seeing all the spells in lowercase.
Because they should. Your spell should just yell at you. Like,
Dude, it's how to play the game. Everything yells at you.
exactly. And that's why Zap has an exclamation mark at the end of it.
A question in chat: what was the first place time? It was a 2:04 by Quicklet.
Yeah, it was like 2:04 Quicklit and then 2:07 by Split Punch. And then 2:19 by me.
SBQ trying out the Bane strats, but they work a little worse on Tiamat too.
Sometimes it's still your best play.
I
Well,
did
this
get a
Tiamat wasn't that bad.
did get a
Where
turn
was-
one Bane on Tiamat one.
Where was the defense sword?
Again, I think either Earth or Marsh, because we never saw it.
All the good stuff that you were hoping for.
Yeah, if you can't find anything, it was probably in Marsh. Or Earth.
Yeah. The moment I saw like TNT and Lazy Dwarf, I was like, yep, not even going to the south. Just going, I'm leaving. Because there was literally no gold chests in the beginning, so you had like no gold unless you went and grind on POP.
Yeah, there was nothing.
I mean, gee, you just had to settle for having Zeus Gauntlet and Mossam, and I'll play you a sad song on the world's tiniest fiddle.
As long as it's a golden fiddle.
That we can sell.
And you played Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Alright, so SBQ with some inventory Tetris before the Chaos fight.
Well, that's interesting. First C is definitely in a different place in the encounter table because he is the only one with sorcerers and heirs after Tiamat.
I had no encounters after Tiamat.
Same.
And then you were in a class by yourself.
It was nice because I was half expecting the game to just like punch me in the face and be like 4 worms, 2 iron golems, 4 worms again.
Alright, Smugzug taking a nuclear. But that's it. Just one turn on this Kraken fight. And he's on to the next floor.
I'm definitely gonna have PTSD about 4 worms. Because that was my .01 right there.
What's really funny is every single time SBQ like attacks or something, his thief changes colors. It's truly
Yeah.
magical.
I think he tried to use that palette that we discovered was for flashes to add a third one.
Like
Oh,
he's legit changed 5 colors during the chaos fight in the course of 1 turn.
It's part of the ninja camouflage.
Adapt to your
Magical rainbow
surroundings.
ninja.
He's the chameleon ninja.
an actual ninja blending with his surroundings.
Now he's blending in with the floor.
His favorite place.
So going for the Bane strats, which extra swag if you get it, but Temper would have probably been a little bit better in this situation.
There we go. That's what I wanted to type in.
Oh, there's Rub. We saw that work on Bapafoy's earlier.
Rough his day.
Going with the Bane strats again.
Sticking with it. Gotta respect it.
You can't go wrong with the Bane strats if you'd like to join the club.
Apparently, Chaos had nuke as well.
Okay. Well,
So he had nuclear, and swirl. For those keeping
All
track
right.
at home. And that must be a double nuke.
Oh,
that's
oh,
okay. Ow.
Apparently,
Ooh.
we're lucky this Chaos didn't have more hit points.
In the meantime,
that's a
first,
triple nuke.
Oh wow.
yeah, First C is fighting Chaos. He's going to lead off with a nuke of his own.
And GG.
That's good enough. 390. Very nice nuke roll.
Back-to-back nukes. That's ugh.
That is unfortunate.
He was taking a little longer on that fight because of going for the Bane strats, so we hadn't seen that deep into Chaos's rotation. That could have made for a different seed.
Yeah, and SBQ just forfeited.
I don't blame
can't
him.
say I fault him for that at 3
I
hours.
don't blame him.
Then Smugzug is onto the Chaos fight, and we'll see how his luck.
Yep, our last look at it, and our last look at stage 1.
Don't forget you can stick around for Midnight Madness. They'll be going tonight with the first matchup of Stage 2. We've had some feature show-offs of what that looks like with the 4 white mages, and that can run the gauntlet. We could see times as fast as 30 minutes. We could see them take over 2 hours if it's the wrong kind of seed. And no, I'm not exaggerating. Trust me, even Artea logged a 2-hour time.
Oh yeah, if you've been watching side randomizer races the past couple of days, there's been this one, quote, impossible seed.
So I think we're getting close on this Chaos now. Didn't keep track of exactly how many hit points he had, but that's a lot of damage put in so far, and that's enough. So GG to Spugs.
And that's it for stage 1.
That is the final kill for stage 1.
Yay! No more stage 1. Can die to fire.
So, as a quick rundown of the results of the race, in first was Quick Clit with a time of 2:04, and second Split Punch with a time of 2:07, Ice Blue third with a time of 2:19, Bratster in with 2:20, Show 2:21, Brilliant 2:22, in seventh Bismarck with 2:31, eighth Maya with 2:42, ninth Fuchsia with 2:42 as well. In 10th place, First C with a time of 3:01, and in 11th, Smugzug with a time of 3:02. The rest of the runners forfeit. So the remaining 7 did not finish the race.
It was an interesting day. It was an interesting round. I'm not sure if we're going to get any final thoughts from any other runners we didn't get to hear from yet. But Edge, I will say thanks for the chance to work with you again. It was a lot of fun today.
Always a pleasure, and looking forward to doing this again during round 2.
And if you haven't joined us yet on the Discord, that's the best place to be because it's a lot of fun. You never know what crazy stuff will come up. Like discussions of having a GDQ at Edge's house.
I didn't even realize that they changed the name of the admin tag. Apparently we're not admins, we're primordial forces.
Okay. But thank you everybody who watched us today, and thank you Speed Gaming for all the great partnership it's been throughout this through the tournament, through stage 1, and we look forward to a lot of great matches to go. But we've got Smug joining us now. Smug, congratulations on the last Chaos kill of stage 1.
How exciting.
We've got First C as well. GG to you both.
Thanks, guys. How's it going?
No more round 1. Thank God.
So, what were your thoughts on the seed? First seed, we'll start with you.
I thought it started. I didn't like the imps at the beginning, that's for sure. But outside of that, I thought it started off pretty decent. My biggest issue was always just, routing and learning the randomizer.
Was your seed as electrifying as everybody else's?
In which way?
Did you
Thunder, 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 lit 2, thunder, more thunder.
Thundercats?
Yes,
Thundercats,
Thunder just kept killing me nonstop. So I was
You had Thunder Gerwolves, Thunder Medusas, Thunder Agamas, Blaze, and Blizzard Georges, Fire 3 Bulls. Yeah, that was beautiful. His favorite.
I think I finally ended up grinding on zombie dragons until I ran out of potions and ordeals.
That is a nice hefty gamble there, especially with Medusas on that table.
Yeah, I was just kind of hoping that the off step would be nice to me. Luckily, I kind of was. So, excuse me.
And then Smug, how about you? Did you run into some of the same issues with the seed?
Yeah, sleep imps, and then a lot of thunder. Hydras had an instant death that was not fun to run into when canoeing around.
Well, curious question here. Start with First C. Are you planning to run the Midnight Madness first match of Stage 2 tonight?
No, I have work in the morning. that would kill me.
Trivial details. Smug, how about you?
No, but I'll be at the noon one tomorrow, probably.
Ava, can you go grab my headphones, honey? Grab my headphones.
Anything you're looking forward to with one of the later stage rounds versus what we had in Stage 1?
That won't work. I have to have the other one. Nothing specific. If anything, the XP boost.
I don't know, stage 3 looks kind of amusing, at least.
All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here and just say again, thank you all to the runners who put on a great show for us, not only today, but throughout Stage 1. It's been exciting. Hope you all have had as much fun running it as we've had watching it, and wish everybody luck going forward. Edge,
Thanks.
any final words?
No, just thanks to Mythical for putting together the restream, and thanks to Tarlin for doing the tracking. I know that was probably crazy with 4 people and then rotating the streams in and out. Appreciate the hard work.
And I'll just add to that, thank you to all of you who watched today. Hope you all enjoyed it, and have a great rest of your day.
GG's.
GG, guys.
Well done.